Hi there. Welcome to Block Talk Live with Deanna, Quinn, and Doug. We have just completed our 5 days working with Doug, who had, I would like to say, scoliosis. We have made such incredible progress, and we're just going to be doing our final interview. We've taken some phenomenal after pictures, so we're going to be posting those. Yesterday we showed a little bit of our technique. We're also going to be giving a video that Quinn will be putting together to show the progress, and again to show some more of the technique and some more of the work. So Doug, after 5 days now, how are you feeling?
100% better. We worked very diligently. You worked very diligently on me, and I worked very diligently with my block buddy. And we've used this term, being in prison, but I can't emphasize how true that is. Was. Okay, I'm getting up from the chair, waiting for that crunching pain. It's gone. I'm worrying about extremities that you worked on. Pretty gone. It's like not a big deal. I can start light exercise program until I rendezvous with you guys again in 2 months. But I have my 21-day program and I'm ready to go. And it's been phenomenal. What it's mostly taught me, I think, is the fact that don't be scared of the pain. Go into the pain, become a friend of the pain until you don't want to be friends and go away for a little bit, right? Like that's what Quinn's taught me too, you know, just whenever I have pain, if a rib is feeling sore, I slowly go do my diaphragmatic breathing, keep the smile on the face, go into it, and then actually you want to search for it, search for the pain, because it dissipates. That's the difference, as opposed to doing crazy stretches and pulls and heavy, like machines. This is, again, you call it fluid isometrics. It has a fluidity to it. When you come off the block, you come slowly, and Quinn was talking about breathing in and breathing out, and slowly but surely getting up. And it's a cakewalk now. Comparatively, it's a cakewalk from all of 4.5 days ago.
Wow, and I really like using the term persuasion versus force.
Yeah.
Because it's not like we're not being aggressive in your body, as you can attest to.
Right.
But we're not forcing you to do anything your tissue doesn't want to do. We're persuading it through the process of melting. It's more the feminine principle compared to the masculine principle. And really, we need a little bit more of that in the world.
Yeah. We do. Well, you were explaining about different techniques that you had become versed in, like Unwinding yoga and certain types of massage, and I was so amazed to know you've had 55,000 hours of fascia, and that's a hell of a lot of hours. I mean, you see most massage therapists, not all of them, but the ones I've met, I think the certification is 3,000 hours, and then they're off, and we don't even know if they go get certified again.
Right.
But this is so beyond. And I like what you described, how you came up with this. Maybe you could tell people just really quickly, because the idea that this marries to the bone. The bone, it's similar to bone. So at first, like we were talking about, you may get a little nervous. Hey, this is hard as a rock. What am I going to do? But it's soft, and you go into it with your body, and they become one. So it's easy to get off. It's really not a problem.
And the way that I actually developed the block, I mean, it didn't come from my mind. It came from a process of what actually happened. So I'd been working on my own tissue with my hands, with my technique. And, I'd work 8 to 9 hours a day on patients, and then I'd come home and I'd want to be working on my own body. But my hands were getting tired, because that's a lot. As you know, again, I'm really using quite a bit of force, as you'll see in the videos of the demonstration. So I was doing some restorative yoga, and I was lying over a bolster in a twist, and my yoga teacher said to me, be really careful with that. That's a really deep position. And I thought, I don't even feel this, because I was so used to putting my hands so deeply in my own tissue. And I had an Iyengar rectangular yoga block beside me, and I said, you know what, instead of this bolster that's soft, I want to take this. And I put it under my body, and suddenly I was like, wow, I don't need to use my hands. I can actually just move into the block now, but it was sharp. And so it felt right, but it needed some work done. So it took actually 2 years of myself working with one of my therapists who's also a woodworker to create the exact shape so that we could actually get into the soft areas of the body and not have that feel painful, because we want to move all the way to the bone, but if it's a rigid edge, that's going to be too painful to be able to melt through properly.
And you were talking about the wood close to
it's similar in
like
density.
Bone.
Yeah.
Oh, density.
So if we want to be able to melt through those layers of tissue all the way to the bone where that fascia grips and adheres again with that 2,000 pound per square inch force, we need to use something similar in density to actually get all that way to the bone to create that release of the grip. So that's why we use wood, and that's why it is this shape. And Quinn, I'm sure you have lots to share.
Well, I just love how Deanna described this to me when I first started block therapy. It's a piece of nature, and the piece of nature connects to the bone compared to using something like plastic, because you can get hard plastic, you could use metal, you can use styrofoam, foam, rock, you can use anything, but that is such a similar density to bone. It's literally a piece of nature. It connects so beautifully to yourself. It feels right. Like, it feels right when you're on it. It's not cold. It starts to almost heat up with your body temperature, and then you can literally feel your tissue melting. And when you feel it melting, you feel the pain starting to subside, and then you start searching for more. And then what do? We hang out with the pain.
Hang out with the pain,
exactly.
Right.
So
and the pain, it's not to be, I keep saying these words, but I say it again and again. I cannot emphasize enough that you're going to want to meet up with the pain. It becomes addicting, because once they meet, they struggle for a few moments, and then when you're off, your pain is gone. We had that experience last night when I got up too quickly. I wasn't paying attention and pushed my arm and locked it. That's one of the things we don't want to lock the joint. So all of a sudden, because I've had decades of pain, I get very frustrated. Quinn said, relax, chill. All he did was put the block out. I put my arm on the block. We worked on the pain. We did the diaphragmatic breathing. And then I thought he was going to give me a break. He said, okay, let's move on to the next one. And by the time the session was over, oh yeah, I hurt my arm. I forgot. But we actually had a even more phenomenal thing happen. That's a blessing in disguise, which was yesterday. I took a break from the intense therapy and went to do some errands because I live in this area. And I went over near the mall area. There was a pothole, large pothole. My ankle twisted. I flipped out because I was like, oh God, I'm in the middle of this therapy. Every single time I do something, I get injured. I was like, oh no, it's over. I'm done. So you can explain, I thought I was finished. But then I realized, wait a minute, Deanna's here. I want to test this theory. It's a blessing in disguise, which I don't usually say, but it really was, because the top of my foot, that was incredibly painful. You had me work that pain, not ice, not raise it up, not rest. So explain that again, because it actually worked. And Quinn and I went to dinner after you worked on it a little bit, and I started complaining about it again, and he said, relax, which was difficult to do, because it's difficult to relax because I've injured myself. Every single time I start a weight program or a biking program, swimming, martial arts, I do well for a few months, something goes wrong with the joint, and I'm out. And I've stopped, start, but I just gave up until I did fluid isometrics. So all kidding aside, Quinn and I, after we had dinner, we walked back and he showed me how to walk in.
How to walk on it properly. So
walk on it properly.
This is everything I'm explaining to you, Deanna has taught me.
Yes.
So when we're walking, so it was your right foot.
Yes.
So we want to exhale with that pain. So with every step you are taking, you're going to exhale on the right, inhale on the left. Exhale on the right, inhale on the left.
Right, and explain that.
So we were walking too fast. And then we got to slow down. We're only a couple blocks away. So we slowed down our walking pace, and then you started doing the proper breathing with as you're walking. And after probably 10 steps when we slowed down, you're like, you're right, it's going away. I thought that was really fun.
And when we got to the crosswalk at the hotel, I'd come upwards with the foot, and we get sharp pain. I'm like, are you sure? Okay, all right, I'll trust this. Literally when we got to that last block, I did it slower. I walked across when the light turned green, and it was almost like the green light was saying, this is the last steps. These are the last steps you're going to take in pain. By the time you reach the hotel, it was already coming out of pain.
Yeah.
Can you explain that again? Because that's up front sounds contraindicated or contradictory to the healing process.
So,
but it isn't.
First of all, we have to understand that the way our body was created by God, whatever you believe, it's ingenious in its design. If you look at The Life of a Cell by David Belinsky, you will see the universe of activity that goes on in one single cell, one single of our 100 trillion cells. I cry whenever I watch it because it's so incredibly beautiful. So trust the body to know what it's supposed to do. So when we have an injury, the first thing that the body does is inflame because it knows what to do. It knows that if we've torn a ligament or a tendon or whatever the tissue is, even if it's bone, the body's going to send what it needs to rebuild that tissue. But again, it's like batter. The body's sending all these raw ingredients. You whip it all together and you get batter. If we put that in the freezer, again, we have frozen batter. We want to put it in the oven so we can bake the tissue so we can rebuild it. So when we understand that we want to apply heat and energy into the system as opposed to stop what the natural response of the body is, it's extremely efficient at repairing it, especially if we can do it right away.
Yeah, it was very
if
lucky
we wait
here.
2 or 3 or 4 or 5 days, we can still deal with it.
Right.
But if we get it right away, I mean, it was yesterday and by, last night you were fine.
Yeah, and I say I was lucky that you're here, but you're always there if you got the block.
Exactly.
And I can look at my lessons and like by the time I hurt my arm, it's not like Quinn worked on my arm. He just told me where to put the arm on the block. And again, that seems so simple. I would have thought that was complete BS, but it's not because I just experienced it.
Yeah.
And some therapists to whom I spoke about this were saying that sounds, esoteric. It sounds a little exotic. It's, it sounds like BS. Well, you know what? Had I not had this block and I'd have had that twist on the top of my foot, I would have iced it all night. I would have given up and I would have said, okay, there goes 2 weeks. There was 2 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours. And then I've seen what you've done with people people need to check that out. People who have broken bones. That is incredible. And you have those videos posted. That's phenomenal. And you see these guys, their feet are inflamed. You work with them, show them how to use the block, how to do the diaphragmatic breathing to breathe the pain out. And it worked. You have it on video. I didn't see those until today. My jaw dropped a little further every time I see this stuff. So.
And Doug, that's why I really so appreciate what you've done with us, because this, to the average person, this doesn't make sense because it really goes against the grain. I was taught as a therapist, the Rice method, rest, ice, compression, elevation. That's what I was taught in school. Yeah. That's what everybody's taught. So this is a completely opposite approach, and it doesn't make logical sense to the person that understands this, which is why it's so important that we share through other people's experience.
Right.
Because eventually there will be enough people that understand it as you now do and believe in it, and then it's just going to continue to grow.
And you don't, when you say believe in it, that's a very interesting way to look at it. I'm a recipient of it. It has happened. There is my belief system. Sure, I would say I believe in doing fluid isometrics and block therapy. How about this? I just experienced it for the last few days. I was lucky to have incredible body work done as well. Not everybody will have that luxury, that privilege. However, the block is in the breathing. The block in the breathing.
Yep.
Because I'm not going to have you around. We don't live next to each other. And I will begin my program. But when things go wrong, or when I say wrong, you get some pain, I'm not worried about it now. I just know where to position the block, breathe, relax. What is it? Breathe and believe it will go away. And it did. My arm's better, my foot, I forgot about it today.
I just have to say, Deanna, he's probably one of the fastest learners
I agree.
I've come across.
Yeah.
You're so fast, you believe it, you understand it, and you do it.
Oh, I'm very intelligent. Yeah, I'm very
Clearly.
smart. Yeah. And I'm not prevaricating or being pedantic.
Well, I even just want to back up about the whole ice method thing, because I'm not a certified athletic therapist. I'm a certified block therapist. I was trained under Deanna. When I hear about the whole ice method and these other methods, I think that's insane, you know? Like, I'm like, why would you do that? That makes zero sense to me. It's because this makes sense. If you can learn this, if you can see it and you apply it to yourself, it makes sense.
Right.
This is the way. The body has its complete ability to rebuild itself naturally, and it's through the pressure of the block and the proper diaphragmatic breath we can all heal ourselves. It's so simple, yet people are going to be like, it's too simple, and that's where people get lost. It's that simple. That's what people just have to
And the breathing is not complicated. To some people, like myself, I thought, wait, what do I do? Go up, breathe in? It's really easy. It's really easy. And you have a video that shows you. You can watch the video over and over. Again, I was lucky to learn it from you live. But I know I didn't look at the video. I didn't look at it thoroughly because I'm already learning it. But when I saw some of it, I'm like, oh, this is easy. It's the key. It's key that to breathe.
It's how our body was born to breathe, diaphragmatically. And when we're babies, if we're healthy babies, we naturally do that. We lose that over time because pain, fear, and stress cause us to reactively hold the breath. And we are living in a stress-filled world. Most people have locked their breath because they're stressed. We all suffer from adrenal fatigue because of the collapse in the breath through here. So getting back to nature is really what this is about. And I love acronyms. My acronym for pain is peace acknowledged in nature. And when you are on the block, it is so meditative because you're connecting to your pain and your breath, and you're releasing the pain so you can find more pain and release that, and we become more open, more spacious, younger, more rejuvenated. It's just a beautiful, simple process.
And it's effective.
Yes. And efficient.
It's very efficient. It's so little time. What, 15 minutes a day?
Yep. And 21-day program is literally 15 minutes a day. If you can't find 15 minutes a day, then there's something wrong.
And I was still questioning, by the way, about the top of my foot at dinner. And I think I complained 3 times. Why did I do this? You go, it's over. Let's just walk back. I'm like, okay. And I did it, right? Exactly. So after 3 blocks, the 4th block, it was going away. No pun intended, but the blocks here in the city, and it really did. So that is phenomenal. Never mind, of course, the back, which doesn't even look the same. I mean, it's flat as a pancake.
It
back
doesn't
here.
look like you have scoliosis anymore, Doug.
It doesn't.
No.
I can't wait to put together this video. We're gonna put in the photos of the before and after, so everybody can literally see a 5-day transformation of Doug's process of literally unwinding scoliosis naturally.
And
it's phenomenal.
And even though I love, you can say believe in, but love the science of chiropractic, my chiropractors they'd be excited that I didn't come in this week. They're trying to spread it out. I used to go so much. I get a pain, the rib is sore, I gotta go to the chiropractor. I mean, I'm a total believer in Nuka, what I was doing. But they are trying to spread it out for me, and they want me to become one with this pain again and work on my body with the tissue.
Right.
Because even the great adjustment they do will not hold if everything is tightened and squeezed forward. So that's been an incredible blessing to work with this.
And when you learn the simplicity of block therapy, you become your own therapist. So you don't have to go anywhere. You're doing it on yourself. You can travel with it. You can do everything with it. You can bring it with you in the car. You'll want to.
It's not that heavy. I mean, this is easy. Okay. So you can do it as a carry-on.
I would really like to add one more thing, though. This is a complement to everything. So we're not saying that people don't need help. People don't want to seek other modalities, do other things, because I'm a full believer in whatever makes sense for you and your body, do that. But add this in, because this is going to make whatever else you're doing that much more effective. And we're simply a friend to everything, really, is what it comes down to.
It seemed, again, not to be redundant, but just with the arm last night, it seems too simple. I put my arm out, but when I do my diaphragmatic breathing, and I go into this, and then I just move my arm on the exhale, just gently and slowly hanging out with the pain, as Quinn said. I think in 4 minutes. What was it, 4 minutes?
Yeah, we spent about 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I slowly got off the block. And I was about to complain until I had to get into another position. And then at the end of the session, I'm like, oh right, I hurt my arm. So that was just it. That was not as severe in any way as that ankle.
Yeah.
So plus the fact I was lucky to have the body work, you know. But I have a scoliosis that's been around for a long time, 30 plus years. So yeah, I mean that's a heck of a lot to do in 5 days, you know. But that program is going to be great. I mean, I'm jumping into the program.
Wonderful.
I can't wait. I'm thrilled. You know?
So I hope you could hear us, because we're outside right
Yeah.
now, and there's helicopters and traffic and all this stuff
Fighter
going
jets,
on.
yeah.
So Doug is, for the next 2 months, going to be focused in the whole health program. Then Quinn and I are coming back out here for another 5 days, and we're going to take Doug to the next level because he wants to look like Quinn.
Yeah.
So we're going to get him there.
Quinn said he wanted to look like me, but yeah, either way, yeah.
And we're just going to keep continuing moving forward. So
Oh, and tell maybe when you were talking about that, in all seriousness, Quinn, I was saying, Quinn, I'd love to start strength training again because I used to be a lot heavier and bigger. And that's a very important thing to tell people about. We don't want to work, strengthen into
the dysfunction.
the dysfunction.
Yeah,
Maybe you could talk about that because that's important.
When you're out of alignment, and if you have scoliosis or not, we're all not aligned correctly. So even if I'm taking on a client, etc., but not even to go there, if you're not aligned properly, you don't want to go and work out in the gym.
Right.
You're going to strengthen yourself further out of alignment.
Right.
And that's when I first started working out. That's exactly what I was doing. I was falling forward. I wasn't looking healthy.
Yeah.
And then I got on the block, and then everything changed.
And
so
and you're a professional. I mean, Quinn's a natural professional bodybuilder.
Not quite professional yet. But.
Not professional. Okay. Well, you're in contests. It's not like.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's natural, but he also shared photographs before you did block therapy and after, and the symmetry when you were posing on stage, it's night and day, right? It was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what convinced you about the block, right? When you.
Totally. Well, I was convinced with like the first class I went to. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, okay.
It was so amazing. But when I saw the changes and saw how much dramatic the changes were in the gym, and I was growing different, and everything was changing. It was. Then I started developing my own methods of training, and I'll be creating I'm working on my program now that I'll be releasing. Who knows when? It could be within a year or so. But when I'm coming back here, then we're gonna slowly start integrating the new training techniques.
Excellent.
So we're combining fluid isometrics, block therapy, and working out so that you're strengthening yourself into its correct alignment. Right. And even when I'm working out now, after I complete a workout, I feel more awake, I feel more aligned compared to feeling more compressed.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll be doing with you in January.
And when I say believer, I mean you're the lead block instructor for fluid isometrics. So it had such a good effect on you, such a positive effect, not just on your symmetry as a bodybuilder, but pain reduction, flexibility,
everything.
And completely, you did a 180 in your mind about stretching. Yeah, what could you tell me? That was interesting how you warm up in the gym. You use the block.
Well, exactly. I use the block before and after I go to the gym.
Yeah.
I'm using the block before to awaken my cells, to open up so that I can provide more blood and oxygen flow to the area I'm working out. After I work out, using the block in the muscle group or the area I just worked out to release the fascia, release the compression that I may have created to again improve more of the blood and oxygen flow for recovery. So I'm providing more oxygen to the cells, to the muscle group I just worked, but along with the nutrients that you're eating, everything, the blood's carrying everything to rebuild it correctly. Yeah. So I'm just opening up the gates and rebuilding it. I'm not taking supplements, I'm eating real food, and most importantly, the number one essential nutrient is oxygen. Okay. So we're oxygenating our cells, our tissue, and that's what's making it all of it.
Right. Yeah. And Deanna, you were speaking you and I were speaking about the stretching. When I would do stretching, like scoliosis stretches, I injured myself. My ribs went out, or if I did something that was a sharp move. I haven't come close. I won't injure myself with the block. I'm not worried at all, but I feel looser. As I used to do the hurdler stretch 50 times a day, you know, anywhere I go, like I said in the other videos, I do the hurdler stretch for that left groin area. So is doing the block, hanging out with the pain. I still get up every day with no pain, shooting into that leg, which is crippling. And it's a mental stress. It's mental stress as well. It causes depression. It causes mental stress. You just want to huddle off into a corner, and you're looking for a solution. This is it. This is. I don't see myself. I mean, this is so easy to do.
Yeah.
I'm
and
gonna have
you travel with it. It's easy.
Yeah.
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 You take it with you.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Okay.
I'm very lucky.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for being a part of this 5-day journey. It's not ending here.
No.
We're going to be back again in 2 months. So thank you so much. If any of you want to discuss this with us, please go to unblockyourbody.com, fill in that assessment, and I will personally get back to you so we can see what program makes sense for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.